Welcome. This is going to be another storytelling video about another day that the wife and I went out. And I brought my Canon 7D with me. It was near the end of the summer, and both the wife and I had the same Saturday off, which doesn't happen very often. And with limited amount of super nice days left, we thought it would be a good opportunity to hit the road, go to a couple more conservation areas, obviously bring my camera with me, and just kind of play around. Before I forget, all the photos that are going to be in this video are unaltered, unedited, unadjusted. Bear with me if some of them aren't great. So it was coming up to the end of the summer. We were on our way to a conservation area that's maybe 20 minutes, half an hour from our house. I noticed that there was a lot of farm equipment in the fields, on the roads. Decided just to play around while she was driving and just snap some photos on our way up. Mainly just of different tractors. I believe I've got a couple photos that are in the field. I have one where a tractor is hauling a grain bin and turning into his laneway. Until recent, my main objective was to get the clearest image possible. Although some of them that I'm going to show you aren't super clear, some of them are extremely pixelated due to the ISO and the auto adjusting in this camera that I have set up. The first conservation area we stopped at was just a small one. I think it took us maybe half an hour to walk the entire thing. It was probably 2 or 3 weeks since I was playing around with the camera. So stopping there, it allowed me to kind of get back into the swing of things, get reacclimated with where the buttons were, where the knobs were that changed the f-stop and the shutter speed. Because when I've been shooting, I've been having it in manual mode, but auto ISO, taking random photos of just random different things that I thought might end up pretty unique looking. There was only maybe 3 or 4 photos out of that entire stop that I thought was remotely interesting. There was one photo that I took where it was pretty dark, so the ISO adjusted itself up to 3200, I believe. When I got the image onto the computer, I noticed that it was extremely grainy. Most people would look at that and think that it was a bad image, but the grain effect, I feel, added like a vintage old film style look to the photo. Another image that I took, and I was just kind of playing around a little bit. Part of the way through the trails, I noticed that there was like a little, what looked like could have been a little creek area. There was no water in it, but I noticed there was like a probably 8-inch round storm drain underneath the trail. So what I did was I just stepped off the trail, put my camera down, and I took a snap. When I reviewed it on the camera, I was kind of confused as to what I captured, but getting it home, getting it on the computer, I noticed that it was a reflection from the water that was left over in like the little drain area. Initially, when we started walking that trail, I had the shutter speed up to 1/500 or 1/500th of a second. By the end, I had bumped it down to right around 1/200th of a second or 125th of a second. And I also bumped up my f-stop from f4.5 to f9 or f10, right around that area, just to give me a little bit more clarity on the depth of field. And it also allowed the ISO to drop down to what should have been a decent range. Leaving that location, we originally planned to go and park in another parking lot, and when we were on our way there, we came across a road that was closed to the public. They were doing bridge work, so we couldn't get down there, which kind of was a little bit of a buzzkill, but we ended up finding another spot to park. The area we parked at was like a little park area, which was the mouth of a trail, not knowing that it was the opposite end of the trail system we were originally going to go on, that had like a little dam area. It had houses on the other side. Seeing as there was a body of water there, I thought it was a good time to kind of focus on taking photos of reflections. I did get a couple decent ones, but the way that I had the camera set up, more or less the autofocus points put the image off a little bit. So part of a couple of my images are blurred and the other parts are all clear. I can adjust it up though to make them look a little better if I wanted to. A couple of my shots from like the reflection spot on the water, I saw that may have been good for leading lines. I don't know if it worked out or not. Let me know in the comments below if it actually did. This area that we were in, we don't really visit too much, so we don't know too much of what it's like. The main focus that I had in the back of my mind while shooting here was to have the highest f-stop possible, super low shutter speed, and what I mean by that is right around 1/125, which should have gave me a pretty clear low ISO image. Pretty much all the images that I was trying to capture, I wanted to have some sort of, whether it was a branch, a tree down, or something kind of focusing on one part of the image. There was a few different bridges that I managed to shoot. I feel like kind of gave you the perspective to lead to one area. I don't know if I fully captured it or not. I'm still learning, so that it's a learning curve. I was also trying to capture things that was unique to that area, like the little dam area. There was a couple different bridges. There was like a little pond creek area that had some good lighting from the opposite side from the sun that cast a nice shadow and a nice reflection. So I got a couple images there as well. The lens that I've been using the last little while as well, and I also used on this day, is the 18-55 EFS kit lens. I know it's not optimal, but it's kind of teaching me what focal lengths I use the most. As of right now, the main focal lengths I'm using roughly are between 24 and 35. Occasionally I will step it down to the full 18, and occasionally I will zoom in to the full 55. Mainly I'm staying right around 24 and 35 millimeters. Not really for any particular reason either. It's more or less just a couple focal lengths that allow me to stay at a decent distance from the subject, but allow me to get what I think are pretty decent images. Now, would I go and buy myself a 24 mil or a 35 mil? Probably not. I'd probably just keep a lens like this that allows me the range, just so then I don't have to constantly take the lens off and put the lens on, or constantly adjust myself up to try to get a decent image. If I was shooting different style photography though, I probably would go ahead and get myself one of those, if not both of those lenses. But for the meantime, this lens works perfectly fine from what I need it to. Looking back, there was one main mistake that I made. It's kind of a dumb one, but I'm gonna share it anyways. And that is when we got to the second location, after taking the photos on the way to the first spot, all the way around the first spot, and then the second stop, I forgot to grab the spare battery out of our car for the camera. So 3/4 of the way through our hike on that trail system, the camera started dying. The red light for the battery on the camera was flashing, so it wasn't really doing what I needed it to. It did eventually end up dying, so that was a rookie mistake on my part. I'm definitely not going to make that mistake again. Another mistake that I did was I was shooting only in live view mode. And if anybody knows anything about these Canon 7Ds, and I'm sure a lot of the older Canons, is they don't have good live view shooting autofocusing modes, which kind of sucks. But it is what it is. It's what I get for buying an old camera. Does that mean that I'm going to go ahead and buy a new camera? Not anytime soon. I've still got a lot to learn on this camera. It's still a work hog for me. That's about it for the second day being out. It's not the only time that I shoot. I was trying to shoot as much as I could in the summertime of my motorcycle as well. Feel free to hit the thumbs up and smash the subscribe button, and happy capturing.